Ark 2 finally gets a mention and is in production. Ark mod support apparently fixed. And quite possibly, our theories confirmed, the final boss of Lost Colony. You're right, kids, it's Raasclark and welcome to your regular Ark community news. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, share around, and let's get into it. So the big alarming scenario since this Unreal 5.5 upgrade has been mods, right? Mods have been a big issue across the globe, across the board, across all platforms, with console especially affected, with many unofficial servers and single player especially unable to simply play the game since this update. And of course, a backlash of replies from you out there. But it's seemingly now fixed. CurseForge put out an update explaining that they've received confirmation from Wildcard that the latest patch passed successfully and there are no new known issues at the moment. Though shortly after that announcement, community manager Svala dropped a post explaining that the issues affecting the Dino Depot mod, in particular on PlayStation, was an issue that they've now hopefully identified, which have now been resolved, which seems to allude that overall there was some satisfaction in getting over the hurdle of these invalid mod issues that have been happening since the upgrade. But there seems to be no individual mod issues that the team are working case by case and working with CurseForge or Overwolf on a broader solution to identify and fix these other mods out there. Understandably, pressures are high because, let's face it, if you're not unofficial, it's highly likely you're playing with a mod, and they're hoping this new solution is going to be rolled out over the next day or so. On a broader level, this 5.5 upgrade has been met to a phenomenally mixed response. Whilst we covered in depth our thoughts and feelings on the upgrade and compared against the 5.2 version of Ark and seeing a marginal improvement, and whilst a lot of people out there are certainly seeing improvements themselves, there's still quite a lot of people out there that aren't, which is quite frankly a frustrating scenario that, hey, many people could be affected poorly by this update as opposed to positively. It's just baffling how we can have so many different scenarios as a result of this, and no clear understanding on how it works for some, but it doesn't for others. I feel like this mod issue overall is definitely impacting the experience more than anything. And while steps are being put in place to fix these, there seems to be still some work to go. And just a shame there's still ongoing issues. Hopefully there's going to be a fix in the next day or so, as mentioned by Wildcard, with them attempting to fix new crash issues which we've been experiencing unofficial and has quite frankly dampened our experience on there, and just leaves us waiting to know when we can play on servers without expecting a crash on the hour every hour. So that leaked Ark Aquatica trailer that we watched through somebody else and we saw it on Reddit got published officially by IGN with an improved high-res detailed look at this trailer, and honestly, it doesn't look bad. Film Butchikari, who's a great cinematographer out there, I've got to say, remembering this is ASE and not ASA, and of course, get a Powling graphics as a result, it doesn't look too bad, though it is all undersea, and whilst I got my reservations on what undersea is meant to look like, it's meant to be a bit blurry, right? We hate that at the same time, so I guess this is why they went with this clear undersea approach. With a bunch of creatures, ideas, non-canon side story elements to this being offered, there seems to be maybe a hint of promise with this one, but I'll say it again, there is some issues in supporting this. As I've said before, if you're going to buy Ark Aquatica, you're feeding into Snail Games' opportunity here to simply make money off that player base that are still playing Ark Evolved, and divided the community even more from Ascended, which I know has been met to a very mixed response. I get a lot of feedback regarding Evolved and that we should simply just forget Ascended because it hasn't really taken off since its launch, and frankly taken off as well as they perhaps expected since its launch. And well, Evolve players are bigger than they've ever been for a long time, reaching a very recent peak of 60,000 players playing Evolved at the moment. Well, it says it all when you compare it to the near 24,000 players playing Ascended recently, and although these recent record numbers may have been impacted by it being free recently via the Epic Games Store, there's a much deeper issue at hand here, that whilst players are possibly excited to get their hands on this, not everybody will, and it's somewhat a testament to why Ascended exists. And to get the answer, all you need to do is play Genesis 2 on PlayStation 4. This is largely one of the reasons why Ascended exists. It runs like ass. It's awful. Try and fight Rockwell Prime on PlayStation 4 and you'll see the problems. If you think frame rate and Ascended is bad, go and check this out on PlayStation 4 for yourself to see the bottleneck for further development for Evolved. And therein lies the problem. Anything new brought out to Evolved had to be supported on PlayStation 4. And if it wasn't any more obvious, now games and cinematic trailer producer Jakari have confirmed this is going to only be for Steam. And it has to be. Dividing the players even more now, because you're going to have Evolved players that are playing one version of Evolved, you're going to have Steam users that are playing a different version of Evolved, and of course Ascended users. It's getting out of hand. And whilst this may look like on face value a win for PC users, why not, right? You're getting a new map to play at seemingly a cost, yet nothing has been officially announced, and nor have we got a release date for this. Originally it was for June, now it's been moved to coming soon. Aquatica only now serves hope for Evolved players for continued development after this map. That's it, right? If there's a new map coming, there's going to be more maps coming. Why on earth should I bother playing Ascended? And that's now going to be the continuing trend for ARK in the future now. That's it. Whilst opinions can be what they are, and frankly at times deserved of Ascended and its performance, this serves to divide the community even more and, well, put a win in Snail Games' favour. And now, possibly more than ever, ARK 2 needs to rear its head to help steer players to this new venture we can all get on board with. Well, that was a long queue up to this moment. It was mentioned by Snail Games at the IGN live event, where one of the lead devs of Snail Games was interviewed, and, well, he had to say this.
What can fans expect in the future of the franchise?
Well, we're having Aquatica soon. Later this year, where Wildcard is doing excellent work. They're coming with Lost Colony. We just had the 5.5 update for ASA a couple days ago. Wildcard is cooking up something really special with ARK 2 soon. And there's going to be a special surprise near the end of the year from Wildcard.
ARK 2 got a mention. What is going on? It's actually happening? Now, we've seen ARK 2 mentioned in close quarters in business conferences with Snail Games before, but to announce it at a public event that we're going to get stuff soon means that some announcement of ARK 2 is coming, and coming soon. Whilst its Steam page remains unchanged with all of the promises that we're actually seeing integrated into ARK Ascended as time ticks on, with stuff like cross-platform mods, third-person only gameplay that, to be honest, I'm finding myself playing in more than ever, and character progression and skill trees that we've recently seen in the dev kit, so must be arriving to ARK Ascended soon. What's happening, what's coming with ARK 2 is really anyone's guess. But after news of Aquatica dropping, this is perhaps the game that needs to be released now more than ever. And hopefully, we're going to get word of what this is soon. And with Snail Games mentioning that Wildcard are cooking up some surprise for the end of the year, God knows what the hell this could be. But also, of course, confirming Lost Colony will still be on track to release at the end of the year, which conveniently segues us to possibly our initial theory on what Mei Yin's role was planned to be with Ark Aquatica could actually be happening. We made a video some time ago called Vampires in Ark Explained, where we tried to pack together the lore to work out, give reason as to why vampires would be a thing within this Lost Colony DLC, and that possibly, as we see in this trailer, Mei Yin gets bit, that she could end up being the final boss of this. Well, it turns out we could be bang on the money, because big thank you to the Laser Streak who tagged me in the following post that Kati Sakoff, hope I'm pronouncing that name right, posted a update on Twitter explaining they've got a new job. Can't tell you what it is, but you're gonna love it yet. But you super sleuths out there, you went digging, didn't you? You went digging, because a poorly concealed script was in one of the photos in this post, where somebody took the opportunity to zoom and enhance, and then somebody else mirrored it and transcribed it to find the script calling the character Mei Yin / the Lost Queen instead of the Beast Queen, which she was originally dubbed as through Ark's lore. And of course now Lost Colony Lost Queen, with the following transcript explaining in Mei Yin's words that there is nothing you could ever do to hurt me. I was broken and remade long before you were up to any Ark, and your weak efforts can't touch what I have already endured. I am untouchable, no longer capable of feeling. That last sentence there in particular says to me, vampire. Get the stakes out. It could just simply be that Mei Yin's hurt from losses because her partner died in the lead up to Lost Colony, or so we believe, Diana, as they ventured to Lost Colony. But I get the feeling this script is recorded for us, the players, as we encounter Mei Yin in Lost Colony. With the words, I was broken and remade long before you were up to any Ark, meaning it has to be related to us, the survivors, who walk in their footsteps thousands of years later. Hey, it could be nothing, but if you haven't watched it yet, please go and watch this Vampires in Ark Explained, because then if you watch that and then you read that, you're going to put these two things together and then end up with the same conclusion: Mei Yin, vampire. Anyway, interesting stuff. Hopefully we get to learn more about Lost Colony over the next week or so. Well, obviously we're going to get some pre-DLC pre-order content at the same time as Ragnarok, when we can actually pre-order Lost Colony then, and maybe these skill tree progression systems that we've seen in the dev kit prior. And excited to see what Wildcard are cooking. It's been 4.5 years since that Ark 2 trailer. It's been some time. Is this finally the moment, finally the year we're actually going to get some concrete details on what the hell is going on with Ark 2? I guess we'll see. And if you're with me on these theories, do that thing, comment below and all that. And ASE players, honestly, I'm trying to understand that perspective, because there's a lot of people out there that are very defensive about Evolved. I think there's a much bigger picture here to explain. I hope I'm explaining this better. Like, there's just a bit of an issue there. I can see if we continue seeing more development for Evolved from Snail Games, and this division between those players and Ascended players, and when do we make the jump to Ascended from Evolved if we can't play it yet, but hopefully we can play it yet. But the 5.5 upgrade can sort of allow us to play it, but it's not that too great yet because Evolved's pretty polished, but it did take like 8 years to get to that polished state, and Ascended is kind of history repeating itself once again. And then you got to factor in the console support. PS4 cannot play anything more beyond Gen 2, so now you're simply getting Aquatica only on Steam. There's a lot going on, too much division. I just want to figure out a way of unifying everybody with the same understanding and perspective. But there you go, rant anyway. Till the next one. My name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.